Welcome back to Vintage HLC Show and Tell. Today we're going to look at Homer Laughlin salt and pepper shakers. Now, as strange as it may seem, not a lot of Homer Laughlin lines had salt and pepper shakers in their assortment. In fact, we don't see any until 1936 with Fiesta. This is the first Homer Laughlin shape to have salt and pepper shakers. All those previous lines that we've been looking at, like the fancy embossed shapes and Knoll Trellis and Old Roman, Wells Century and Jade, the ones from the 1800s, none of them had shakers. During that time period, a lot of people used little dishes with little spoons for their salt. They used glass shakers with metal lids. We don't start seeing ceramic ones until the mid-1930s. And that's true not only of Homer Laughlin, but other potteries as well. So they start with Fiesta. And you can find shakers in all 11 colors. You can find them in turf green, antique gold, even the brown from Fiesta Amberstone. They were reintroduced in 1986. They're still being made today at the Fiesta Tableware Company in Knoll. We also have Harlequin shakers. These are made in all the Harlequin colors. Here we have it in blue and Harlequin yellow in the back. Tango, with its segmented design. That's Fiesta red and Harlequin yellow. They were also picked up and used in Century. Well, Riviera, really. And we have them here in vellum. And we recently learned that they were picked up and used with Wells art glazes. So you can find them in rust, and here's an example in our leaf green and French rose. But art glazes, they were discontinued around 1941. So there's a very small window where these Tango shakers were picked up and used with Wells art glazes. I've yet to see any in melon yellow. Then we have kitchen craft shakers. These would have been modeled in 1937. So there's Olivia. Our Deco Fruit with blue trim. Mexicano with blue trim. They were also used in Fiesta kitchen crafts. You can find them in the 4 Fiesta kitchen craft colors: red, light green, yellow, and cobalt. Swing Eggshell, also from 1937. The funny thing about the Swing Eggshell shakers, if you find them, they're probably going to be either with Nautilus eggshell or rhythm, because they become a pickup piece of sorts. We do see a set that was used with Virginia Rose. This is JJ59. But most of these are going to be non-swing sets. Like this one comes from Swing, but these others do not. This one is a Nautilus eggshell pattern, as is this one. I think we have one over here. That would have been used with Nautilus eggshell. The solid colored ones come from the 1950s. There's also a gray version that would have been used with rhythm. This comes from a rhythm set. It's called Bordeaux. This is rhythm. Capri. Let's see. Wheat spray. That would have used rhythm in the 1950s. So they're somewhat common, although uncommon to find in Swing Eggshell. Then we have Modern Farmer, which uses the swing shape, but we have this added pleated embossing to go with the Modern Farmer shape. Serenade, our pastel line. This is blue. It also comes in green and yellow, and then there's pink. Theme Eggshell. These aren't the easiest ones to find. So we've got our fruit border going on top, then you'll have decals on the body. These were also made in a hotelware body to go with the vintage line, which is based on Theme Eggshell. Georgian Eggshell. Now the original Georgian Ivory or Craftsman line from roughly 32 or 33 didn't have shakers in their assortment. So they were added later on in 1939, 1940 when this line was being developed. So they're all going to have these decals on them that you would find with Georgian eggshell sets. This one just has an ivory shoulder and gold trim. Then we have Jubilee, our pastel line from 1948. This is shell pink. Would have been found in the other 3 Jubilee colors. Those were used in Debutante, which is the decaled version of Jubilee. So that comes from a Debutante set. Sky Tone, which is the blue clay, and Sun Tone, which is brown clay. I don't have a Sun Tone set to show you. But we have a similar situation with the Jubilee shakers that we did with Swing, that if you find these, probably not going to be part of any debutante or Jubilee set, probably going to be with others, namely Cavalier. In fact, we see several Cavalier sets. This one's Viking, that uses Cavalier. This one uses Cavalier, it's Berkshire. This would use Bristol Hollowware from the 1970s. This comes from our Virginia Rose set, Patrician. We see our Virginia Rose embossing platinum stamp. This uses Alliance Hollowware from the early 1960s. This uses Georgian Ivory Hollowware and flatware as well. This is called Petite. Another set using Bristol Hollowware, and this one probably uses Bristol as well. This is our gold spec glaze, late 1960s, early 1970s. So again, all of these come from sets that do not belong to Debutante or Jubilee. In Charm House, we have sets in solid colors. So this is brown that would have been used with Duraprint. We have applique sets. This one's Yellow Daisy. Epicure would be mid-1950s. Charcoal gray, Snow White. There's also the pink and the turquoise. Triumph, Don Schreckengoss last line made for Homer Laughlin. This fine china line. This is Plume, October Leaves, Blossom, and I think that's Pastel Rose. So these are all translucent wear. Then we get into Vincent Broomhall's time at Homer Laughlin with Orbit, with this engobe decorating process. In rare cases you can find them with decals, but most of the time they're going to be these colors. There's also the avocado green, there's also a yellow, there's also a turquoise blue. Then we have Dresden. So this line uses Virginia Rose shapes, but because it was sold through J&H International, and we see this a lot with the shapes that are going to follow, they demanded full assortment. So they wanted shakers in their sets so they could sell them in the supermarkets. So there were no shakers in the Virginia Rose assortment, so they create these with the Virginia Rose embossings. It's kind of weak. I was trying to find one that I could show, but they're pretty weak embossing on these. Those are your Dresden shakers. And then Victoria. So it's Sheffield Bone White. Again, probably because J&H International demanded it. That's why we have these. Otherwise, they would have just probably picked them up from Jubilee or other shapes. Saxon, made for Cunningham and Pickett. This is called Regal, the pattern. Dover, our paneled shape. Provincial. Now we're getting into the late 60s, early 70s. This is Regency. Granada. You can find these in the Granada green glaze for Sheffield Granada. Here we see gold spec. Hearthside. The rings at the bottom. This is sandstone glaze. You can also find it in Bravado green for Sheffield Bravado. One shape that I don't have to show is Table Fare. Those are the handled shakers with the speckled glazes. And then finally, International. So now we're in the late 1970s, early 1980s. These were also made in hotelware body. So those are your Homer Laughlin shakers. There are only 24 shapes that had shakers modeled for them. The hotelware lines, there are extras, but we're not going to look at those today. I know that Gothic had a set of salt and pepper shakers. I think Lyrica had them, and several others. So that's going to be it for now.